it going. There we go. Well, hello, Jane. So nice to have you here with me today. And I want to thank you so much for taking this time to share with our viewers your experience inside the Anchored Abstinence Recipe Program. So, if it's all right with you, I'm just going to jump right in. I've got some questions here prepared to share with you, and we can just have a real casual conversation. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome. And for our viewers, for anyone who hasn't been in my world for any amount of time, we change all of our clients' names to Jane, their first name, just in consideration of their confidentiality. So while Jane is not this lovely young lady's real name, she certainly is was a client of ours, just the same. Awesome. So let's just go right for the meat of it. What was your biggest struggle around alcohol consumption or wine or cocktails before you started working with us? What was your experience like?
Well, I would say my biggest hurdle was that it was very, I was consuming quite often daily, and it was consuming my thoughts as well. And I knew that I needed to make a shift and a change. Otherwise, I was going to be going down a slippery slope that I wouldn't be able to, come away from. So that's it was one of those things where it had become too habitual, and it was becoming too much of a daily routine and part of my daily thoughts and my daily life.
And how long were you at the point where you thought, okay, this has got to be dealt with. I'm not able to keep it in check.
I think it's when I was, when I'd wake up and the first thought on my mind was, I can't wait to open up that bottle of wine at 5 o'clock, or even planning that event.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly does take a lot of our internal space, if you will, when it gets to the point where it's problematic. It does fill up a lot of our time. And how did you learn about the Anchored Abstinence Recipe and myself?
I like to say it's divine intervention. Um, I feel that the universe knew I was struggling, and sent me an angel, um, you, Angelina. And I was scrolling through on Facebook one night, and your um, program popped up. So my phone must have been listening to me. So I'm sure I'd mentioned to someone that I was struggling with this, and I need to get a hold of it and deal with it. And then, as we know, sure enough, your phone is always listening to you. That within a day or so, I think of mentioning that your program actually popped up on Facebook on my news feed. So I took that as a sign that it was something that I should look at and start dealing with.
And as we all know, there are definitely signs, but sometimes we want to do a little research. Did you look into any other programs or avenues to address the issue before you connected with me?
I didn't look too much into other programs, or I didn't dive into too many other programs. I sort of scanned around a little bit, but I find that a lot of the other programs were, I don't think they really resonated with me. They're really based on that 12-step model, which I don't feel really resonates with me in terms of how the program is laid out. And I don't know how successful those programs are in terms of long-term success. And that's what I'm looking for, is long-term success, and not always feel like I have to uh, go back. But like some of the 12 stuff, like you have I guess a coach, or I don't, and so you want to be able to wean off of a person or off a program and be able to go off on your own and be able to manage. And I feel that you become a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? You can't cut the apron strings from some of these programs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you want to be able to cut the apron strings and not be reliant on a coach or someone to call you, like have the tools to be able to manage and to be able to manage on your own moving forward. That's really at the end of the day, that's what you want to be able to do.
Absolutely. That is the degree of success, right? That is the measure of success. How well can you sustain your goal, whatever that may be, whether it's complete abstinence or to drink comfortably in moderation without feeling like you're in recovery, if you will, well on your own. And that's how we definitely choose to measure our success for sure. And when we first spoke, was there something maybe that we discussed, or that you walked away from that original conversation with feeling that this was what was going to make the difference for you?
I feel that how your program was laid out, the different platforms that you have, and also the different I mean, it's not just you, Angelina. You have a whole team behind you, and they're, the team that's behind you supporting this program and supporting us in this program. It allows us to really peel back the layers, the different dimensions of the reasons why we are doing what we're doing, and so you're coming out at it from a very um, holistic place. Uh, and I feel that that was really for me, that was key, because it's mind, body, soul. So you have to come at it through different avenues and different and touch on different areas of your psyche, your body, your nutrition. Like you have to really incorporate all of those things in order to really be able to fully separate yourself from and abstain from alcohol. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, to be anchored in your choice is really, it's important that we definitely address all things that contribute to it. Did you have any reservations before beginning?
Of course. I mean, like anyone, like anyone starting anything new, you don't know. And I did have some reservations because, again, I didn't know if it was going to end up being similar to a 12-step program. And even though we had conversations, I just really wasn't sure until I dove into the program that this was really what you said it was going to be, is what it is.
Oh, wonderful. And what were your goals at the beginning? What did you hope to accomplish before embarking?
For me, I ideally what I wanted to do is I minimize the alcohol intake to a point where I can have a drink socially and not feel that need to overdo it. So be able to have a glass of wine with my dinner, or if I go out um, uh, to a social event, be able to have a glass of wine or a cocktail and not have four or five. So
Right.
be able to stop at one or two. Um, so that's where I wanted to get to that point.
And what was the process like for you? What do you feel that you enjoyed the most out of moving through the modules and, checking off all the tasks that needed to be done to achieve what you wanted to achieve?
Yeah. It was really about, like, for me, it was learning more about myself and why I did, why I was doing what I was doing, and coming to terms with that, and just putting a mirror in front of my face and understanding, why I was doing these things, and um and also being gentle on myself too at the same time, like realizing that you have to learn how to crawl before you can walk, run, and knowing that this was going to be a process, and that if there were any setbacks, not to be hard on myself. It's not the end. You just pick up and you start over again, or you pick up and continue along. So that's, I mean, to me, that was great. I loved the speakers that you brought in. I learned so much um, through them, and then and learn more about myself in that process as well. Hmm.
That's fantastic. I'm glad you did take a lot of advantage of all of the different elements in the program, and that's, certainly what has contributed to your success. At what point there are 12 modules inside of the program. At about what point do you feel that you noticed that things were actually beginning to shift and that you were, putting some space between yourself and that compulsive type of thinking?
Yeah, I would say probably about halfway through. That's when I really noticed things were, you know, I've, having weaned myself off of, there's a cutback plan at the beginning, which everyone I'm sure I was nervous about. Everyone I'm sure is nervous about the cutback plan, because it really is like a hard stop. At some point you have to do a hard stop, and you don't know if you can do it. But I think with your support, with the support of the rest of the team, I think by the time I got halfway through, that's when things started clicking for me. And I was like, you know what, I can make it. I can get through the rest of this program. It's and also, with the nutrition, the supplements, um, the one-on-one calls, which I think are amazing. Uh, that's, I think, getting to that halfway point and really seeing, then you see the light, you start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, I feel it was around that halfway point.
Fantastic. And what about now? What do you feel is the biggest impact from working with us?
I feel that, I can, I feel like I have the tools now to recognize not just this issue that I had in the past, but other things that may come up in the future. So I feel like I have tools now that allow me to stop and be still and think about, um, what actions do I take, and are these actions going to harm myself or help me, right? And so I feel like those are the types of things, like, because I feel like the program itself also lends itself to being able to manage a lot of other different stressors in your life, and maybe um, other things that you might not be doing to yourself. That's so great. And I think being able to just address that and having the tools to say, okay, well, this is what's happening in my world, and what have I learned in my little toolbox? What can I what can I use that can help me get through, some of these in life.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And what is your goal today? What's your plans around alcohol consumption today?
Well, I'm still not drinking, and I don't have the desire to, but I'm sure, at some point, maybe with the holidays around Christmas, I'll be invited to, the usual dinner parties and whatnot. I might allow myself to have if I felt like it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I will. I'm not saying I won't, but I feel that I can manage be, being able to be in a social setting and not and have a glass of wine if I want to. partake or not partake, but feel okay either way, and know where my, um, like in terms of if I say, well, I might have a glass of wine with dinner, and know it's just a glass of wine with dinner, and not let it get into my head like, oh my God, it's only gonna be one glass, and like what happens, and then, but just say, yeah, that's where I'm capping it. I'm capping it off at a glass. But
That's
right now, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm really not. I'm not. You know, I don't have the desire. So I really feel that this program has worked well compared to other programs where I feel it's a constant, every day. Um, it's this constant battle to remain sober. But instead of, you know what I mean? So that
yeah.
I don't feel that this program um gets you to that point where you're constantly thinking about it, like, oh, I gotta remain sober today. I gotta remain sober today. And let me talk to my sponsor and let me, like, it's not about that. It's really just having that, just releasing all of that, and then coming to, and I feel that this program really does allow you to, if you want to abstain for life, you can. If you want to maybe partake whenever, at a minimum, you can, and not feel guilty about it. So I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And that's often a lot and very similar to your original goal, right? You want to be able to go and have one comfortably and not feel that compulsion, that desire to have more. So that's fantastic that you reached your goal in a social environment. What about at home at the end of your workday? Because that's often, what initially brings women to us is like it's gotten to the point where I'm having it every day at the end of my workday. I'm all by myself, or I'm with my spouse, or I'm just at home. It's not a celebration. I'm not out with colleagues. My problem is when I'm at home in my home environment, I want to either relax, or I want to celebrate, or I want to just check out. How has that been different for you now?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because that's exactly who I was. I was that person planning that 501 glass of wine. And now for me, I have other things that I look forward to at 5 o'clock or at 5:01. So as soon as I finish work, I go for a nice long hour long walk. I don't think about, oh, what bottle of wine am I going to open up after? Like it doesn't even, it's not even part of my thought process anymore. Um, and I look forward to doing other things, like I said, the walk, or, calling a friend, having a quick chat, or seeing the neighbor down the hall, or, you know, anything. And it's not about doing those things to take your mind off of that. It's just like the alcohol consumption is not part of my life at 5 or at any time. That it allows me to do other, like, I'm actually filling up my time with more, um I guess, effective things. And yeah, things that really speak more to who I am, than because the alcohol wasn't me, you know. So yeah.
That's so good, so good. Yeah, tapping into what gives us that sense of joy and that sense of who we truly want to be at this point in our lives, and being able to do that just automatically, right? Just
Yeah.
as this is, I'm investing time in myself now, or in the activities and the people that I want to spend time with at the end of my workday. Completely different mind shift from I want to get out of what I'm feeling now. Whatever it is I'm feeling, whether it's stress or anxiety or depression or loneliness or isolation or whatever, I want to switch that instead of, trying to look for a reprieve from those experiences. You're coming into the end of your workday thinking, yeah, that's great. Did what I needed to do. Now it's me time. Now I get to spend my time the way I want to enjoy my life, right? In your evenings. That's
Exactly.
fantastic. Yeah, that's a big shift.
It is, yeah. And I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm happier. Um, I found more joy in myself, than, in the bottom of a glass. And I really was like, I didn't like myself, to be honest with you. Like, even as I was drinking, I'm like, I really shouldn't be doing this. This is not the right thing to do to yourself or to your body. Like, you're just sort of placating and you're just putting a band-aid over whatever it is you're not really dealing with. And I still have my stressors in life, like work stress, whatever, but I feel like I can manage them a little bit better, well, especially the work, turning it off at 5 o'clock and stepping away, and then knowing that it's not, as they say, on your deathbed, you're not going to wish that you worked harder.
Absolutely. That is so good, so good. Yeah, we do have to invest in our own personal time and our well-being, right? We pay enough during that 8 to 9 to 10 to 12-hour workday that we do need to refocus and actually just reward ourselves for just showing up at the end of the
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
So what would you say, Jane, to someone else, another woman who was considering joining this program?
I would say do it. Um, you know, invest in yourself. This is a great program. Angelina and her team are amazing. Angelina, I mean, like I said, you're like an angel to me. You came into my life at the right time. So I appreciate it. And I think anyone who's looking for a different way of um, uh, approaching this issue, or this, I don't want to say problem, but this issue that they're going through, I think it's worth getting, signing up and getting involved. You're very, so you and your team are very supportive. I really enjoyed the the other members of the group. We learn from each other, we listen to each other's stories. You're not alone. So it's one of those things where you do feel like you're part of, um, just like this little group that really everyone understands. There's no, everyone's very respectful. And that was very important to me, that, everyone was very respectful. We all heard each other. We all allowed each other to speak. And I feel that the program, just the way the program is set up, it really does touch on so many different avenues and areas that need to be addressed. Um, and going back to, holistic way, that I think it really helps you get over the this hurdle that this hurdle that we had to get over, for sure. Yeah.
Fantastic. And now that you're past this hurdle, what's your plans for the future? What do you got anything going on that you plan on doing now that you're on the other side of this issue? Is there something new or interesting that you want to explore about yourself or your health or anything else that you've got going on?
Well, for me, it's something that I haven't, and I think part of this was COVID related, but just being able to travel more. And that was one of the things that I didn't have a chance, an opportunity to do. I did a little bit of it this summer. But I do have that travel bug. So so there's that, seeing family, that are out of province. Um, and just reconnecting with myself, and there's I picked up 20 books, so I've got some light reading to do.
Oh,
uh
fantastic.
yeah, so just getting back, I feel like it just really hit the reset button for me, so that I can get back to, okay, I was actually thinking of picking up a something that I always wanted to try and complete. I did it when I was younger and then I stopped. And I think I want to return back to that is piano lessons. So picking up a keyboard and yeah, learning piano.
That's amazing. So taking all that repair that we've done to the brain and to the body and really, stepping it up and challenging it again with learning the music. And that's fantastic. Or relearning.
Or
Oh,
relearning, yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. I love that. What a wonderful thing to challenge yourself with and to dedicate to. I absolutely love music, and all kinds. So that's fantastic. Well, congratulations, Jane. That's
Yeah.
huge. I can't wait to hear a little bit more about that. All
Uh,
right. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, Jane? I really appreciate your time here today.
I would just say that, you were a blessing in disguise. Thank you for coming into my life. You really did change it for the better. And I would suggest that anyone who is struggling with this, um, it's almost like a disease, in a sense, right? And there's unease in your body when you know you're not doing right by it, but you don't know where to turn and you don't know what to do. And so I feel that your program really does change lives, and thank you, and please continue doing what you're doing. You're doing such a fantastic job.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
where you are making a difference in people's lives. Absolutely. So thank you.
That's
Bless.
amazing. Thank you so much. And but I do have to like just make sure everyone knows that Jane did the work. Right? This is not a cakewalk. She did the work. Each and every single module, she showed up. She did what she needed to do. She did the homework. She booked the calls. She showed up to the coaching calls. She did all the work. So while she's giving me a lot of credit, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. You are where you are today because you invested your time in yourself, and that's fantastic. Like it's just a beautiful thing to see that evolution for you, and of course to be a part of that with you is just a blessing for me as well. So thank you so much, Jane.
you.
Awesome. All right, ladies, we will leave that there. Thank you again so much, Jane, for taking the time to chat with us today. Ladies, if you have any questions or want to know more about the program, you know where to find me around this video. So please don't hesitate to connect and book a self-reliance strategy session with me. As you know, they are complimentary. And once we walk you through what's all involved, your level of commitment, your level of time, if it's going to be a right fit for you, then we can help you with that. And if it's not a right fit for you, you're going to know. You're absolutely going to know. And we'll certainly part as friends that way too as well. Well, thank you so much again, Jay. Have a great rest of your weekend or day.
You.
Whichever day.
Yeah.
It's only midweek. I'm already looking forward to the weekend here.
All right. Same here. Always. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Appreciate it, Angelina.
You're welcome. Thanks so much.
Right. Cheers.